What's good, fellow noobs? So, you guys really liked the Tower Battle Zombie Simulator video against all odds, because to be honest I had zero faith in that shit and just did it for fun, and one commenter told me I should make another guide slash tier list. So here we are. This time it's about tower heroes, but wait, don't click off. I know there's tons of tier lists for this game. That's why mine is about bosses. Yep, you heard that right. Not towers, bosses. Look, I figured, if the TBZS video succeeded because it was popular and yet no one had done it, I thought this would have the same effect. I'm also doing this because the channel is so dead it just hurts. Haven't gotten 100 views in a long while. I gotta revive it somehow, and this is my last attempt, the last straw. So, what are the criteria for this tier list? 1. How good the boss fits with the rest of the map. 2. How the boss carries over the difficulty of the rest of the map. 3. The design of the boss. And 4. The theme of the boss. And remember, as always, it's just my opinion and you're free to disagree. Let's begin. Slime King, S tier. The best introduction boss in any tower defense game. You can defeat him with any loadout because he's easy, but not piss easy. In medium and hard specifically, you actually need a little bit of brain to defeat him, which in my opinion makes him a very good beginner boss. The tower he gives on defeat is amazing for beginners. Notice how I said for beginners, because in reality, once you get any other summoner like Oddport and Card Kid, Slime King is just garbage. Still, we're talking about the boss himself and not the reward, so Slime King is amazing. Demolitionist, S tier. Another incredible introduction boss. While he doesn't have abilities like Slime King, he does have slightly more health, but almost equal speed, and you have to admit, this is the most badass motherfucker in the game. Demolitionist is a masterclass of character design. The way he looks determined, enraged with the world and confident at the same time, paired with the incredibly banging metal music, makes him so unbelievably cool. Demolitionist has tons of personality without speaking a word. He knows he'll die whether he makes it or not, so he'll look as cool as possible while doing it. Demolitionist might be my favorite character in tower heroes in general. Mafia Boss, B tier. Yes, I'm ranking a few mini bosses too. Mafia Boss is not a bad boss at all, and he looks like the stereotypical Britalian Godfather Mafia villain. But he's a mid-boss, almost going to bad territory, because he's just so unchallenging it makes him a joke. Real life Mafia is something to be scared of. Mafia Boss is just a fat guy in a tuxedo who will die in seconds because he has the health of a fucking twig. Frostbite, A tier. Honestly, not much makes Frostbite stand out aside from his design. He has the average HP and speed of a one-skull boss, which obviously isn't a bad thing since it means he's balanced, and that's good to see in tower heroes. One thing I remember about Frostbite is that Arctic used to have 180,000 HP instead of the 65,000 of now, and Mystic had over 300k if I remember correctly. I used to not be able to solo the map because of that. Now, I may be wrong, because he's had average health for a long time now and all traces of his old stats were seemingly deleted. Thank the shitheads at fandom blocking everything behind logging in for making me unable to verify. Snail Royal Family, F tier, C tier. Listen, they suck. They have average one skull health, but their speed makes them really bad to deal with and a lot harder than they should be. Paired with the horrendous map that is Sneaky Swamp and the fucking crocodile that shows up on the same wave as the king on medium for some reason, and you have a trio of shitty unlikable bosses no one wants to deal with. Fuck them. At least the Slime King skin is amazing. Elite Crocodile, C tier. He's basically everything Mafia Boss does wrong cranked up to 11. The defense is a cool gimmick for him, I have to admit, but him showing up at the same time as the boss instead of one wave before makes medium mode way harder than it should be, and in hard mode he suffers the same problem as Mafia Boss. You're ready for hell and have to deal with a simple candle. That's the best way I can describe it. He looks cool though. Squirt, B tier. They're ridiculously easy for how cancer-inducing Tidal Takedown is, but the reason they're this far down the list is because of the ink mechanic. Sure, Getting hit with ink like in Mario Kart was cool and funny the first few times. After the 4th time it gets stale, and by the 7th time you're begging to every religion to end the map fast. Fracture, D tier. Same problem as Squirt. Cancerous map, easy boss. But also because, let's be honest, Fracture is just a way worse Skeleton King. First of all, Fracture has no abilities and basically relies on his speed to be of any difficulty. Second of all, the difference from enemies to boss is so bad, the wiki literally states, if your defense could deal with the waves before this, you should win without doing anything. And third, he's trying to redo the legacy of a legend. Skeleton King was slow but very tanky for his map's difficulty. His scrolling animation made him look very cool. He was genuinely intimidating with that size, and in general he wasn't a do-nothing boss. He was kind of on the same level as Demo. Fracture on the other hand looks like I can snap him in half like a stick and he just floats instead of crawling, which may have been done to make him seem stronger, but it did the complete opposite. Skeleton King, S tier. Skeleton King was an absolute menace. He was the perfect end to the old Volcano Valley, carrying over the lava vibe and being a boss that will make you have to try hard to win, but not be needlessly difficult in the process. He was intimidating, and the hero he gave was very good at the time. Obviously the Fracture hero is useless now, but back then it was the meta, and battling Skeleton King to get him was so cool and cinematic. Although he does use the same song as Slime King at Frostbite, but that's because it's cool and cinematic, so you can't go wrong with that. Real talk, I'm mad that you can no longer get petrified and molten skins for Fracture. The FOMO they will create is insane. I've already seen a few flexers, just a horrendous decision all around. I think the Canyon Calamity revamp was needed because 2 maps with the same waves and rewards was dumb. But Volcano Valley also getting a revamp and the old waves being fully forgotten is so stupid. Why? Calber, A tier. Undebatably, Calber is a really cool boss just like Demo, but to be honest he feels a bit overpowered. It's one of those bosses where beating the rest of the map doesn't guarantee you'll beat them, which I think are bad bosses in general because they're supposed to be possible as long as the rest of the map was possible, but be a cool and final feeling ending. If it's not as difficult as the rest of the map, something's wrong. Cursed Golem and Ancient Spirit, B tier. They're overpowered as hell. The gimmick with starting as the fast Ancient Spirit and then revealing the tanky and slow Ancient Golem beneath is super cool, but the Ancient Golems themselves are a bit too tanky, to the point they even feel a little bit unfair. Still, not as bad as other bosses we'll be seeing here. Big Sentry Line, A tier. They're not too hard because they have really underwhelming speed, but they have outrageous amounts of health. The boss rush in Facility Frenzy is a super cool touch to an otherwise kinda forgettable map. I just feel like they could have worked amazingly if their health wasn't so damn high. Pyara and Co, S tier. I love this boss trio a lot. They are incredible. Radiant Reef is a 5-skull map according to the game, but we all know that shit is at max 2 skulls. Still, these 3 bosses are incredible. Clam Knight is Corrupted Knight without the annoying stuns. Clam King breaks the mold of easy medium bosses by being super fast and thus being slightly more difficult because of that. And Pyara, while not being that amazing, has a super cool design and made me learn of a new animal. These 3 are amazing bosses. They're basically like the Slime King, but each difficulty has a unique boss with a unique twist. Stain, A tier. Good old Albert Einstein. Frankenstein's monster. Ornstein and Small. Okay, enough puns. But seriously, his design and song are super cool, and I like his gimmick of being fast and having a pretty simple attack to introduce new players to what raid mode can bring. Still think the speed could be toned down a little bit though. Tiny Crew, D tier. Holy fucking shit, these guys suck. I hate being people because of them. They have ridiculous amounts of health and speed. You can't even excuse it behind the map having that spot where towers can hit 2 times, because even with that, this is still needlessly difficult. They have the stats of raid map bosses in a normal map. What the fuck is this bullshit? Fuck these guys. Having to deal with oversped tanks for lackluster skins is not worth it. Cloudy Catastrophe is only good in casual mode. Fruit Pillar, F tier, horrendous mini boss. I know I laughed at Elite Crocodile and Mafia boss for being ridiculously easy mini bosses, but this shit is so ass because it's got so much fucking health for no good reason. Also, Fruitful Fight is just a preposterous map in general, and Fruit Pillar is just fuel to the fire. No, I am not ranking Elderberry. I just said Fruitful Fight is a preposterous map. It is! The music is amazing, but the gameplay is like pulling out your eyeballs with toothpicks. Electric King Slime, S tier. They're basically just what if Slime King was in a raid map, and it's perfect. I can excuse the speed here because Rooftop Rumble is not the first raid map, unlike Grand Garage. I also just love the idea of the Slime King line, but electric instead of fiery. Also, I have their modifier, so they kind of sold me there. Temper, C tier, most mid boss in the game. The design is great, but stat wise it's so bad. The second phase is faster but has more health. Every time I see Temper I just think, oh, here comes this mofo to ruin the fun. He's just not fun or fair to fight. Reminder, mid doesn't mean bad. It means mid, like it's not bad or good, so remember that, because Temper isn't shit, he's just mid. Mirage, D tier. Such a horrible boss to deal with. Not only has Ornate's vomit inducing ability, but also has above average speed in a map that is super short and spaceless, similar to Aftermath or Sneaky Swamp. But hey, the design is what kept it from F tier. It's like Evil Wizard and I like that. They should do that for every hero. Except Maitake, her level 5 is already that. Gym Rat, S tier. A really good mini boss in a not so great raid map. The pun here is incredible, literally a rat that goes to the gym. I love how he spawns again on the last few waves multiple times, like they realized it's not that hard, so adding a few extra to the final waves wouldn't be a bad idea. I like it. I probably didn't get the point across well, because it's kinda hard to explain. Shade, B tier. Kind of disappointed he had no abilities, but damn, that health is insane. I guess he is a raid boss with slow speed, but it's still just so much health. Not hard to deal with anyways though. Onibi, or Onibi, C tier. Extremely mid boss. You only remember it because 1 it's overpowered and 2 it gives you Yasuke. Not much else stands out about it. It just has a lot of health, above average speed, no attacks, and represents something about Japanese folklore like the rest of the map. But do remember, mid doesn't mean bad, just not bad and not good at the same time. Branch, C tier. Holy shit, this boss is so ridiculously hard in a map that is already so tumor giving. He's not F because he gives you Branch, who is arguably the best hero in the game. Ornate, D tier. I absolutely despise Ornate. Her cramped, shitty map makes the experience a lot worse. It's basically Origin Mirage. She has everything that makes Mirage bad cranked up to 11. The insane speed paired with the de-leveling mechanic makes Ornate a dysentery-inducing boss in general. And yes, I'm starting to run out of bad adjectives and diseases. Goblin Captain? I honestly haven't fought him. But given how much of a nightmare his map is to deal with, I'd imagine he's just as bad. Goblin Captain, you're free for now. Mothership, S tier. Hear me out. Yes, she has way too much health and too much speed, but honestly without that, alien attack wouldn't stand out as much. It'd be a kind of forgettable map, but Mothership saves it by being a ridiculously hard boss that concludes an also pretty hard map. And her design is simple but amazing. This might seem kind of a bipolar take, and I am expecting 2 hate comments on this shit, but I don't care. The Mothership line is S tier to me. Maybe the song is doing some carrying too. Stinger, D tier. It's basically Branch but way worse. Not only is the hero locked behind hard mode instead of easy mode this time, but also the skins in the other difficulties are not that great. I'll never forget having 4 fully prepared people for this map and still losing to hard mode Stinger. Bosser isn't worth beating this mid map for. Corrupted Knight, A tier. Yes, I'm ranking the casual bosses separately. Corrupted Knight is a good easy mode boss. He's not impossible, but he does have the health and attack to put up a bit of a fight if you get caught off guard. Void Reaper, C tier. Here's where the issues start. He has an insane health pool, twice the average hard mode boss HP. This is bad because he's the default medium boss of casual. Casual mode. Casual means easy. The difficulty of the default casual mode bosses makes the mode turn into didn't bring boss mods? Fuck you! And also casual mode is just ridiculously hard for no reason, and I hate that because I've seen new players accidentally choose casual thinking it's easier than challenge and then get fucked over by its insanely unfair difficulty. Sylvia the Dragon Queen, C tier. Most controversial take this video. Before anything, I want to preface this by saying let's leave the gooning and the design aside for this moment. We're rating her as a boss. Yes, the design matters, but as an actual boss, she's not great. 4 times the health a hard mode boss should have to be decently hard. Attacks very frequently, has an attack that hits from any part of the map. She's just ridiculously hard and lost, reminding me why I never play with default casual bosses. 2 times now I've lost complete boss rushes to this bitch. We're talking the same matches where we dealt with a 90,000 HP rush on wave 20, some bullshit on wave 35 and defeated literally everything else on wave 40, and this bitch always gets to the base on like 75% health. She needs a major balance change if we want casual mode to feel even remotely fair without modifiers. Jester, S tier, amazing and cinematic boss fight. Really feels like the end of the game even though I'm sure it isn't. Amazing design and animations, makes him feel like an actual jester and a boss at the same time. But honestly, the Jester Tower, which is like half the reason people play this map, is kind of really bad. High risk, high reward taken to the extremest level. And that's gonna be it for today. I know, I missed a ton of bosses, but I'm barely halfway through the list and this is already such a drag. I might make a part 2 if this performs well. Anyways, the actual announcement I wanted to make is that Nuclear Noobs episode 8 will be voiced. I've yet to get the VAs, but I promise it'll have voices. Stay on the lookout for that if you like Nuclear Noobs, which might be possible considering the views on episode 7. Thanks for watching, noobs.